Next, what you're going to want to do, get your materials out of the box, which are going to be the top and bottom rail. This is your bottom rail. It's square and it's nice and uniform. The top rail has an odd shape to it to match that odd top bracket. Top and bottom rail come with a sleeve that is made out of plastic inside the rail. You will remove these and we'll talk about what they do later on. Next, what you're going to do is use your tape measure, measure in between the bottom brackets. I have 74 1/4, so I'm going to cut my bottom rail to roughly 74 inches to allow for there to be a tiny bit of play, and also you can fit it in there without moving your post. Once you have that bottom measurement, which I'm actually going to go with 74, so now you will take that 37-inch number, and what you're going to do, this here is the center of the rail. You will mark with a pencil the very center. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure 37 inches from both sides of that center mark, and I'm going to make a line. All of my spacing between the posts is perfectly even, so as I go along the deck, it'll look the way it should. Cut your top rail the exact same as your bottom rail. Square them up. Then you can flip it over and do the same thing, making both the rails exactly the same. What you then need to do is take this sleeve, which acts as a tension mechanism that holds the spindles tight once they're in their channels. And these holes, they will allow the center spindle, which screws from the bottom, to be attached. So you want to make sure you put this hole where that punch out is, and you can mark this plastic piece. Both marks will be 3/4 back of your rail length. Now it has to be rough, it doesn't have to be perfect. So now you have marked out your bottom rail, your top rail. What's left is your bottom cover and your top cover. This finishes the rail, makes it a solid piece. Let me see here. You can make these exactly the same length. Now you have marked out your bottom rails, your plastic sleeve inserts, and your top and bottom rail covers. You can cut all of this and you can start putting everything together. I pre-cut the spindles because I already know how tall the railing is going to be at my 34.5-inch rail height. So I'm going to cut these and then we'll put it together. Now that you've cut everything, let's put it together. Start with the bottom rail. Once you have that attached, go ahead and take your bottom rail cover, and it's going to be completely flat. The other one's a little bit concave. Make sure you're flush on the end. And install it. And that's awesome. reason I had you measure from center when you cut your bottom rails, or at least measured for them, is because we want our spindles on both sides facing our posts to be equal. Otherwise it's not going to look right and you can't charge what you think you can charge. Get your top plastic sleeve, insert it into your rail, work it. Lift those spindles in. Before you go any further, I want you to attach the top rail to the top brackets. Now you can take your top rail like this, should be about 1/4 inch away from the post, and snap it over. One looks like this for the top. One is square for the bottom. Get your post cap. And that's how you do a Trex Signature black aluminum powder coated railing.